to Hayden Cooks a Lot. Today I'm going to be making some salsa in my food processor. So I have some tomatoes that I bought the other day and they're already looking pretty sorry. So they're not as attractive anymore to use them on sandwiches. So instead I'm going to turn them into salsa. So before we get started, make sure you get your body ready. You have your hair pulled up or back, and you have nothing on your hands or arms, sleeves rolled up, wash your hands really good. All right, so I have already put in the food processor a few of the tomatoes that I cut some spots off of them that were for me. I have a few more here that I have cut some parts off. I do need to finish cutting these up a little bit. I have some leftover onion from another video from yesterday. So I'm going to cut this piece off and this one here and throw this onion in here. So this is about, I would say one medium onion right here because this used to be a really large onion. I prefer white onion in my salsa. You can use yellow or red, it doesn't matter. But when you get your onion, this is the stem end. This is the root end. You want to wash it first. Onions are dirty. I like to pull off the little fibrous roots that are on the bottom of it. And then after it's washed and peel off any loose skins, then I'm going to turn it on its side and I'm going to cut off this stem end, put it flat side down, and then I will cut straight through the center of that root, pull the two halves apart, and now I peel the onion. And then you could use like half of that big one here. So that's kind of like part of what I have here. I'm going to cut off this root end here that I have, and then I'm going to throw these onion pieces here into the side of this food processor. And I have this piece of leftover onion from the other day too. I'm going to cut off that root end. And I can save the root ends for some compost outside and put that in. I'm using a chef knife, so when I use my chef knife, I have my hand wrapped around, my middle finger goes up to this little area here, and then I wrap my first finger and bend it on this part of the blade, and then my thumb is on this side here, so fingers are up and out of the way. Remember, our chef knife, the blade is lower than the handle, okay? So for the tomato here, this one still has its core in it. So I'm going to cut right next to that core in half. And then I'm going to put it flat side down. So I'm going to rainbow this tomato so it doesn't wobble on me. Cut right next to it. And then this half here that does not have the core, I'm going to go ahead and throw in. And then this part here that has a little core, I'm just going to use the tip of my knife to make a little triangular cut to remove that little core. That way I'm not wasting a lot of tomato. That can go in my compost. Okay, I'll slice that in half. This one here, I've already removed the core, so I'm just going to quarter this up a little bit and put that in. And same thing, this one has a little bit there. I'm going to remove that little spot. Okay, and throw this in. And I can get this one in too. All right, so let me put that one. This piece will go in, and then I'm going to remove the little core here from this one. And put that, will go in my compost. I have a sink right there that I'm just chucking the stuff into, and later I'll put it in my compost. All right, so I like jalapeno or serrano peppers. I prefer a spicy salsa. So I'm going to leave in the pith and I'm going to leave in the seeds, which is where most of the heat is. The pith part is that white membrane that the seeds attach to on the inside, but we don't eat the stem of it. So I'm going to cut off the stem. Okay, and be careful when you cut hot peppers and stuff, because if the oils get on your fingers and you touch your eyes later, you're gonna burn. So there's nothing you can really do about it other than to blink like this, blink, 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 to death, to help you wash it out with your own tears. But adding water to your eyes aren't gonna do anything. So just keep blinking, it'll eventually go away. I have some cilantro here. I already washed it. I just had one bunch and I ripped off half of it. And then I'm leaving on some of the stems that are here. Stems are a lot of flavor, so you don't need to necessarily remove all the stems. So I'm gonna Put that in there, and then a lime. So I will probably end up using both limes, but we'll see how it tastes with one lime first. So to get the most juice out of your lime, you could microwave it for like 15 seconds. Something else you can do is you can set it down on your cutting board and put your 2 palms on top, put your weight on top of it, and then roll it back and forth a little bit, okay? And that'll loosen up some of the juice that's inside of it, okay? So I'm gonna cut this in half. This is the top end and this is the stem end. I'm gonna cut that in half, and then we have our 2 halves of our limes, and then I'm just gonna use a fork, and this lime, I don't see any seeds in it. A lot of limes don't have many seeds or any. So I'm just going to stick a fork in it, and then I'm squeezing the lime around my fork to get the juice out of it. And the fork helps to release those little, the little pockets that hold the juice in there. Okay, so keep working that a little bit. All right, and oh, I see a little baby seed. There you go. All right, so same thing here. Squirting, and if you think yours is full of seeds, then you can do this over a bowl and then just scoop the seeds out with your fingers or with the spoon. All right, this is a pretty juicy lime. When you buy limes at the store and you want them to be really juicy because you're ready to use them, don't get the ones that are really, really dark green. The ones that are really, really dark green are going to take a while before they soften up. They're usually really hard, so you want to give the lime a little bit of a squeeze. I mean, it has a slight give to it. That's a good lime. I know that limes, along with like lemons and oranges and stuff, they do put a spray color on the outside of them because a lot of times they are covered in a wax to help keep them fresh, and they do put food coloring in that. So they're not always, they can be like yellowy looking, actually, some of your limes. They don't need to be just deep dark green. A lot of time that's just color they put in there. All right, so rinsed off my hands, get that lime juice off. Now we need to add some salt in here, and a good amount of salt. So you can use table salt, you can use kosher salt. I'm gonna use Himalayan pink salt. So this has a grinder on here, and I bought this at Costco. So you can find it at pretty much most of the grocery stores. All right. It looks like about a teaspoon and a half at this point. All right, so now I'm ready to blend it up. So get this on and my lid on. Go this way. All right, and this thing goes on here, and I have my slicing blade at the bottom of it. So, and my slicing blade's at the bottom, okay? I'm sorry, not slicing blade. I have my chopping blade at the bottom of it. So I'm gonna plug this in. And remember, food processors can have the blade at the bottom, and there's also little discs and stuff that you can put at the top to do shredding and chopping and all kinds of different things. Just depends on what you want to do with it. So this thing saves you time rather than me sitting there chopping up all of the tomatoes and the peppers and cilantro and everything by hand to make salsa. So this goes really fast. So there's an off button, an on button, a pulse button, and a dough button. So the dough is used, obviously, if you're making dough, you can do pie crust dough in here and some bread doughs and stuff like that. I would not do biscuits in this though. So I'm going to pulse it, which is going to make it turn on when I hold it down, and then when I let go, it shuts off. So in that way, the ingredients are going to jump up and down inside of it to help mix it. Okay, so pulse. And I'm tapping it on and off to make it pulse. All right, so you can see it's pulling the ingredients down towards the blade as it goes. All right, I'm gonna hold it down here for a few seconds. All right, and looks good. All right, now I need to taste it to see what I think, and then we adjust seasonings. Woo! Got a big strong whiff of that jalapeno that just came out. I like spicy, so that's good. I'm just gonna use tortilla chips. I prefer the tortilla chips. You can get at Aldi's that come in a red bag, and they're long little strips, and they're like rectangular strips. I love those. I also like super thin chips, but I happen to be at Lidl, so I got what they had there, which is just regular restaurant style. Okay, so I'm gonna dip it in here and give it a taste, and then we'll see if we need to add more lime or more salt or more jalapeno. I think it's perfect. Yep, it's good. Salt has a good amount of heat. I can definitely taste the tomatoes. Just the right amount of onion. That's delicious. All right, and make sure you don't double dip your chip. Okay, always get fresh chips. Thanks for joining me.